Supermarkets don't really sell food, they sell decisions. Decisions designed to quietly drain your money while making you feel comfortable, busy, and reassured. Most of the items people buy every week don't make them healthier, happier, or financially stronger. They exist because the system is built for moments when you're tired, rushed, and don't want to think. And that doesn't make you stupid, it makes you human. This video isn't about judging anyone. It's about exposing how familiar grocery items exploit fear, habit, emotion, and convenience. Once you see how these traps work, you'll never shop the same way again. And item number 1 looks cheap, but costs more than all the others combined over time. Number 10. Diet-labeled foods. This is where many people believe they're being disciplined, informed, and responsible. Words like keto, paleo, and Whole30 sound scientific, modern, and safe. They signal control. That feeling of control is exactly what you're paying for, not better food. Diet-labeled products are among the most heavily marked up items in the entire supermarket. Take a moment to look at the ingredient lists instead of the front label. A jar of keto-approved peanut butter priced at $10 or $11 often contains nothing more than peanuts and salt. Right next to it sits a regular jar with the exact same ingredients for a fraction of the price. No nutritional difference, no quality difference. Just one extra word on the package, and that word quietly empties your wallet. The diet food industry doesn't grow because people are healthier. It grows because people are anxious, afraid of gaining weight, afraid of eating the wrong foods, afraid of falling behind the latest health trend. When fear enters the cart, logic leaves fast. That's why you'll see keto granola for $12, paleo crackers for $10, and approved. Sauces that cost double what they re-worth, all built from the same oats, nuts, oil, and spices humans have eaten for generations. Here's the uncomfortable truth most labels don't want you to hear. If you eat keto, you don't need special products. You need eggs, meat, vegetables, and cheese. If you eat paleo, you need fruit, vegetables, nuts, and fresh meat. These foods existed long before certifications, seals, and lifestyle branding. When a product makes you pay extra just to feel allowed to eat it, that's no longer nutrition. It's a psychological toll booth. Item number 10 doesn't make you healthier. It simply makes your grocery bill weaker, faster. And the real decision isn't whether you've ever bought one of these items. Almost everyone has. The question is whether, starting today, you'll let a label decide the value of your food, or whether you'll decide for yourself. Number 9. Bottled water. Bottled water doesn't take your money through fear. It takes it through habit. No flashy promises, no big claims. You buy it because you've been buying it that way for years. Pick it up, drop it in the cart. No thinking required. And that's exactly why it's one of the most quietly expensive items in the supermarket. Most people don't buy bottled water because it tastes better. They don't buy it because it's truly necessary. They buy it because it's always there. Stacked near the entrance, lined up by the checkout. It's waiting for you when you're tired, thirsty, and just want to get out of the store. A $2 bottle feels harmless, almost invisible. But one bottle a day turns into hundreds of dollars a year without ever triggering alarm bells in your brain. The production cost of bottled water is only a few cents. Everything else you pay for goes toward plastic, transportation, branding, and the comfort of familiarity. Many bottled waters are nothing more than filtered tap water sealed in plastic. Yet once it's in a bottle, your brain assigns it higher value. You're not just drinking water, you're drinking a routine. The most dangerous part is that you don't remember the spending. You don't feel like you're shopping when you buy water. It doesn't register the way meat, fruit, or bread does. It's a reflex. And reflex purchases are the ones that drain money the fastest because they bypass awareness entirely. There's also the hidden costs people rarely think about. Plastic bottles increase exposure to microplastics, especially when stored warm. Even if you ignore health and environmental concerns completely, the financial math still doesn't lie. A basic home water filter costs very little and lasts months. A reusable bottle lasts years. Item number 10 took money through fear of eating wrong. Item number 9 takes money by making sure you don't ask questions. Not everything that feels cheap in the moment is cheap over time. And once you notice how automatic this purchase is, it becomes much harder to ignore what it's really costing you. Number 8. Fresh bakery pastries and baked goods. You don't buy fresh bakery pastries because you plan to. You buy them because of the smell. Warm bread, butter, sugar, vanilla. Those scents hit your brain before logic has a chance to wake up. That's not an accident. Supermarkets understand something very simple. Scent bypasses rational thought faster than any discount ever could. When you walk past the bakery section, emotion turns on first. A muffin for $4, or a brownie for $3 to $5. Individually, it doesn't feel expensive. But here is what's rarely discussed. The profit margin on these items is often close to 60%. You're not paying for flour, sugar, eggs, or butter. Those are cheap. You're paying for a moment of comfort, for the feeling that you deserve a small reward right now. And notice something important. These items are almost never on your original shopping list. You don't come to the store thinking I need a pastry, you add it on the side. That's what makes it dangerous. Side purchases don't register as spending. Your brain remembers the pleasure, not the number on the receipt. So the next time you smell it, the decision is already halfway made. Supermarkets reinforce this behavior intentionally. Bakery sections are placed along high-traffic paths, lit with warm lighting, surrounded by soft colors. Some stores even use artificial aroma systems to amplify the smell of freshly baked, even when items were prepared hours earlier. All of it is designed to slow you down just long enough to let emotion take over. No one is saying you're not allowed to enjoy pastries. The problem is why you buy them. $2 baking mix at home can make an entire tray for your family. But a single pastry is sold as a harmless indulgence, even though its price is many times higher than its real value. When emotion makes the decision, money always leaves quietly. Bakery items don't destroy budgets in one trip, they drain them slowly, one comforting impulse at a time. Number 7, big brand spices. Have you ever opened a spice jar, shaken it, and wondered why there's almost no aroma left? Most people assume it's their fault: poor storage, heat from the stove, or buying it too long ago. But here's the truth most shoppers never hear. Many big brand spices are already dead before you bring them home. Big spice brands don't sell flavor, they sell familiarity. The small glass jars, neat labels, and trusted names placed right at eye level make you feel safe grabbing them without thinking. And because you've seen them your entire life, you don't question them. A tiny bottle priced at $3 or $4 Dosen tea look expensive until you calculate the cost by weight. Gram for gram, these are some of the most overpriced items in the entire store. The real problem is turnover. Big brands move slowly. Spices sit in warehouses, then on shelves, losing potency month after month. They don't spoil, so no one notices. They just go flat. And when flavor disappears, what do? You use more, which means you buy replacements sooner. That's how stale spices quietly double their cost over time. Compare that to ethnic markets or stores that sell spices by weight. No fancy jars, no national branding. Yeah, but the spices move fast. They're fresher, more aromatic, and often significantly cheaper. The difference isn't quality, it's rotation. Freshness beats branding every time. Supermarkets rely on your habits here. Don't compare dates. You don't smell test. You don't explore alternatives. You grab what you've always grabbed. And that familiarity becomes an invisible fee you pay every year just to cook meals that taste less vibrant than they should. Big brand spices don't exist because they're better. They exist because they're comfortable. Comfort, when it goes unquestioned, is expensive. Once you realize you've been paying for packaging and reassurance instead of flavor, it becomes much harder to ignore how quietly this category drains both your budget and your cooking. Number 6, organic foods bought without thinking. There's a familiar moment in almost every grocery store. You're standing between two nearly identical items. One of them has a clean label, softer colors, and one powerful word printed clearly on the front: organic. In that moment, most people don't compare prices. They don't read details. Their hand just moves, and money leaves easily. Organic food itself isn't the problem. The problem is how the label is used to make you stop thinking. Once you see organic, your brain translates it into safer, better, healthier. That feeling of reassurance shuts down questions about value. You don't ask whether this specific food actually benefits from being organic. You don't ask if it's worth paying 30 to 40% more. You simply feel like you made the right choice. But here's the part rarely discussed. Not all foods carry the same pesticide risk. Produced with thick skins, bananas, avocados, onions, corn often show minimal residue differences between organic and conventional. Yet people routinely overpay for these items while cutting back elsewhere. Less fruit, less protein, less variety, all to maintain the feeling that they're eating clean. Supermarkets understand this psychology perfectly. It's why organic sections are brighter, tidier, and visually calmer. They don't need to convince you with data. They only need to remove guilt from spending more. Once morality is attached to a product, price becomes secondary. You're no longer buying food, you're buying peace of mind. The irony is painful. Food doesn't nourish your body through labels. It nourishes through freshness, balance, and consistency. Paying more for reassurance often means sacrificing quantity and diversity, which matters far more for long-term health. Buying organic thoughtfully can make sense. Buying it automatically does not. When you stop thinking and let a label decide for you, you're not making a healthier choice. You're paying an invisible fee for comfort. And comfort, when repeated every week, becomes one of the most expensive habits in your cart. Number 5, single-serve packaged snacks. Single-serve snacks are built for one thing: people who are tired, busy, and just want things to be easy. The packaging promises control, neatness, and convenience. Just enough, perfect portion, on the go, and that language works because it tells your brain you're being responsible, not wasteful. But here's the reality.
Ow!
You're not paying for food. You're paying for someone else to portion it for you, then wrap it in expensive packaging. When you calculate the cost by weight, single-serve snacks often cost 2 to 3 times more than buying the same product in a larger package. That extra money doesn't buy better ingredients. It buys plastic, branding, and the illusion of control. Many people believe single-serve snacks help them eat less. In practice, the opposite often happens. Small pack ends before your brain even registers satisfaction. So you open another, and then another. You spend more, eat more, and create more waste, all while still believing you're being disciplined. That's not self-control. That's clever design. Families with children are targeted the hardest. Bright colors, friendly characters, phrases like lunchbox friendly or school-safe push parents toward convenience when energy is low. Each item feels cheap on its own. No single purchase hurts. But week after week, those small costs stack up quietly, draining the grocery budget without ever causing shock. Open your kitchen cabinet and look closely. You'll likely see dozens of small packages, each lasting only minutes. You probably don't remember when you bought them or why you bought so many. They just disappear. The money disappears the same way. Single-serve snacks don't make people poor in one trip. They train people to pay for busyness. Once you get used to outsourcing small tasks like portioning, it becomes harder to recognize when convenience stopped helping and started costing. The danger isn't the snack. It's how easily you stop thinking before you reach for it. Number 4. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables look civilized. Clean plastic trays, neatly arranged pieces, no knife, no cutting board, no mess. They promise to save time when you're tired and just want to get through the day. And that's exactly why they are one of the most overpriced habits hiding in plain sight. A tray of pre-cut watermelon can cost nearly double the price of a whole one sitting right next to it. Same fruit, same original quality. The only difference is that someone spent a few minutes cutting it, and those few minutes are sold at a premium most people never calculate. You're not paying for nutrition. You're paying to avoid a small task at the end of a long day. What's rarely mentioned is what happens after the fruit is cut. The moment produce is sliced, it begins losing moisture, nutrients, and freshness. Exposure to air and light speeds up spoilage, add extra handling, transport, and storage time. And you're often buying something that won't last as long as the whole version. That's why pre-cut produce goes bad faster, and why people end up throwing it away more often. Supermarkets know exactly how to sell this convenience. Pre-cut items are placed in highly visible locations under brighter lighting, inside clear packaging that signals cleanliness and safety. Your brain reads ready to eat is better, even though you're getting less durability for more money. Many shoppers justify these purchases by saying they reduce waste, especially for single-person households. Sometimes that's true, but most of the time it's just habit formed under fatigue. When your brain learns that tired equals pre-cut, it starts applying that rule to more items in your cart. Pre-cut fruits and vegetables won't ruin a budget overnight. They quietly teach you to pay more so you don't have to think one step ahead. And once convenience becomes your default reason for spending, it gets harder and harder to notice when you've started paying a premium for things you could easily do yourself in minutes. Number 3. Trendy superfoods. You don't buy trendy superfoods because you're lacking nutrition. You buy them because they're everywhere, on social media, in health videos, and on shelves covered with words like super, ancient detox, and antioxidant. When everyone around you is talking about something, your brain quietly decides it should be in your kitchen too. Otherwise, it feels like you're falling behind. Small, expensive packages start appearing in your cart. Goji berries, chia seeds, maca powder, matcha blends. Each one costs as much as an entire bag of ordinary food that could feed you for days. But price doesn't stop you, because once something is labeled a superfood, it's no longer compared like food. It's compared like an investment in health. Here's the part almost no one tells you. Superfood has no scientific definition. It's a marketing term. The nutrients these products advertise, antioxidants, fiber, minerals, exist in abundance in ordinary foods humans have eaten for generations. Frozen blueberries, leafy greens, beans, oats, sweet potatoes. These don't trend, so they don't get hype. But nutritionally, they often match or exceed the super alternatives at a fraction of the cost. Another quiet problem is usage. Many trendy foods are bought out of curiosity, not routine. You try them once or twice, then they sit in the cabinet, slowly expiring. Supermarkets don't need you to use these products regularly. They only need you to buy them because everyone else is. That's the herd effect, and it's incredibly profitable. Health isn't built by chasing trends. It's built by consistency. Simple foods eaten regularly do more for your body than expensive powders you forget about. Trendy superfoods don't make meals better overnight. They make you believe health is something you have to buy into, instead of something you practice daily. When you buy because you're afraid of missing out, the decision stops being yours. And once shopping becomes about keeping up rather than nourishing yourself, your wallet is the first thing that quietly pays the price. Number 2. Expensive coffee and energy drinks. This category doesn't drain your money through fear or habit alone. It drains it through reward. Expensive bottled coffee, cold brews, and energy drinks are rarely bought because you need them. They're bought because you feel like you've earned them. Long day, early morning. No energy. You deserve a boost. A single bottle doesn't feel expensive. $3. $5. You finish it in minutes and move on. But repeat that purchase a few times a week, every week, and the cost becomes shocking over a year. What makes it worse is that this spending doesn't feel like spending. It feels like motivation, like self-care, like getting through the day. The beverage industry understands this psychology perfectly. They don't sell caffeine. They sell alertness, focus, and relief. Clean labels, sleek cans, words like natural energy, smooth focus, and no crash. But behind the marketing is a loop that it's hard to escape. Tired gives, drink gives, short burst of energy gives, crash gives, buy again. Many of these drinks contain extremely high levels of caffeine and sugar, even when labeled clean. That spike makes you feel productive fast, then leaves you more drained later. And when you're tired again, the solution your brain reaches for is the same shelf you just left. What started as an occasional treat quietly becomes a daily expense. There's also the comparison illusion. $5 for a coffee doesn't feel bad when compared to eating out or buying lunch. But unlike a meal, it provides no lasting nourishment. You're paying repeatedly for a momentary feeling. Over time, that moment adds up to a hidden living cost most people never calculate. Rewarding yourself isn't the problem. Being trained to reward yourself with spending every time you're exhausted is. Once self-reward becomes routine, it stops being a treat and starts acting like a bill. And bills that arrive daily are the hardest ones to notice until you finally add them up. Number 1. Processed foods that look cheap. This is the most dangerous item on the list because a dose and tea feel expensive at the checkout. In fact, it often feels like the smart choice. Instant noodles, frozen meals, cheap canned foods. Just heat and eat. Low price, fast satisfaction, no effort. And that's exactly why this category does the most long-term damage. Processed foods are designed to solve one problem: you being too tired to think. When energy is low, these products step in and make the decision for you. They're filling fast and cheap up front. But the real cost doesn't show up on the receipt. It shows up later, slowly, quietly, and repeatedly. These foods are built around high sodium, cheap, refined fats, additives, and fillers that keep production costs low and shelf life long. They make you feel full quickly, but not nourished, so you get hungry again sooner. You eat more, you buy more, and over time your body stops responding the way it should to real food. There's another cost most people never consider: skill loss. When meals always come ready-made, you slowly lose the habit of cooking simple food for yourself. You stop seeing eggs, rice, vegetables, and basic ingredients as meals. You start seeing them as effort. And once that happens, you no longer just buying food. You becoming dependent on the system that supplies it. That dependency is incredibly profitable. If prices rise, you still buy. If quality drops, you still buy, because cooking feels harder than opening a package. This is why processed foods survive every economic shift. They thrive on exhaustion. Item number 1 doesn't need marketing tricks or emotional stories. It only needs you to be busy, stressed, and unwilling to pause for 10 seconds. When thinking stops, choice disappears. And when choice disappears, cost shows up everywhere else in health, money, and independence. None of these items exist because people are dumb. They exist because the system is designed for moments when you're tired, rushed, and just want to get through the store as fast as possible. Almost everyone has bought these things. It's not failure, it's conditioning. The real power comes from awareness. You don't need to change everything. You don't need to live on a strict budget or count every dollar. You only need one pause before you put something in the cart. Ask yourself why you're buying it: fear, habit, reward, convenience, or actual need. When you stop letting the supermarket think for you, shopping becomes simple again. You keep your money, keep your choices, and most importantly, you keep control. If this video made you recognize even one habit, leave a comment and say which item hit you the hardest. And if you want more content that breaks down everyday decisions honestly, without sugarcoating, stay right here.